Hey everybody, Matt Rudkin here. Well, that worked out well. I was just testing some equipment, eating dinner, and National Weather Service issued a tornado warning for Pulaski in Stark County, so I thought I'd hop on. Please don't mind me as I also have a bite or two while it's warm. Um, but I thought we'd talk about the um, tornado warning. We'll start with that, do an analysis on it, and then go from there. I want to start off by saying tonight is not going to be one of those nights where we see lots of tornadoes. I know we've got a warning, but the atmosphere does not support long-lived large tornadoes. You can get these little spin-ups that happen, but that is really about it. Now, that doesn't mean we don't take it seriously, right? But I'm just not concerned with a widespread tornado outbreak at all. Tornado warning, though, in effect for southern Stark County, northern Pulaski County, right along the line there, State Road 39, US 35 area, just north of Winnemac, between Winnemac and North Judson there, seeing that tornado warning. Let's do a couple things with radar. Oh, sorry, I've got the live comment on top. I shut that off earlier because I was just doing some stuff behind the scenes, so I'll turn that back on for next time, but just wanted to focus here on this instead of worrying about that. But here's a look at the tornado warning. Again, the velocity data is just not that significant. You can see, and again, that's okay. Always better safe than sorry. But right there, see that little red and green? That is the rotation that the National Weather Service is watching here. I'll make this a little bit better for you. How's that? There we go. That's where we're watching. A little bit of wind going towards the radar, a little bit of wind coming from the radar, and that's when you can get some rotation. Most of this is up in the sky, so unlikely that it is reaching the ground, but the storm is certainly rotating, which is why the National Weather Service being proactive, issuing that warning just in case for this particular storm. All right. Sorry, I just got done mowing as well. It's been one of those evenings I didn't think I was going to go live, but here we are. It's part of the game, right? It's always fun. Waiting for the next scan to come in to see how the data is. So again, where I drew that, I'll draw it one more time, but we'll make it a little closer. Right there. That's the rotation they're seeing in this particular storm, pushing over to the east. I can put a storm track on here for you so we can get a little better idea of where this is going. So North Judson at 8:44, that'd be 7:44 your time in Central Time, Clarkson, and that area a little bit after 8 o'clock. So that's where the storm is rotating the most. We got the tornado warning. Some rotation detected in that storm by the computer models as well. So that's why the National Weather Service issuing that tornado warning, that red box there between the Pulaski and Stark County lines, between North Judson and Winnemac areas, right along 35 there, where there is some rotation where I drew that yellow circle. That's what we're watching right there. So we're waiting for the latest radar scan. We'll see what the next update shows. Hopefully it continues to show less rotation. Still there a little bit. You saw the live update with me there. Let's erase that. I'll redraw it. It's that little batch right there that the Weather Service is watching. Some rotation up in the sky. When that happens, you can sometimes get a funnel that does produce a weak tornado. The overall setup does not, the atmosphere does not support large, long-lived tornadoes tonight. That's just not going to happen with the lower parameters for that. However, you can always get these little spin-ups and these storms that kind of intensify through the heating of the day. Latest scan there, pretty much the same, not seeing much of a change. Again, some rotation with this as it continues to push to the east. Storm relative velocity looks fine. Here's regular old radar that you're used to. These things are just humongous rain producers as well. This is obviously Pulaski and Stark County, but this is also in Marshall County, right along US 30 between Winona Lake, Warsaw, over to Etna Green, Plymouth. That area getting a ton of rain right now, pushing up towards Lakeville and La Paz. I'm seeing some of that as well. Focus is down here in Pulaski and Stark County for the tornado warning. It's that red box you see. We'll continue to watch the velocity data, see which way those rain droplets are moving. Still very broad rotation. It's there, but this is not something where you look at radar data and you get anxious. You're like, holy cow, there's something on the ground. That is not the case with this. However, we take it seriously, right? Lowest level of your home, away from windows. You always want to be prepared. If the storm is rotating, it can always drop a small tornado that's short-lived. But if you're in the path of that, it can still do some damage to your house, to your barns or garages. So for that reason, you want to be away from windows in case there's any limbs or anything it picks up that it can throw through a window. But this is definitely not a storm that would level homes or anything like that. National Weather Service, the good folks there, just being proactive. They're making sure they see the rotation up in the sky. They're being proactive, warning that as it continues to push to the east. All right, so we'll watch that storm. I can put it into motion for you, and you can see that red and green get a little bit closer. I know this is hard to see, but that's what we're watching here as this continues to push to the east. I'll put the regular old radar back up here as it loads. Again, just humongous rain producers. Tornado warning, again, for Pulaski County and Stark County. Radar indicated it's the rotation up in the sky. We're watching that storm that should expire in about 28 minutes or so. So that's where we're watching, that blue and green right there. That would be some of the rotation that the National Weather Service is warning for. So again, lowest level of your home, away from windows, just to be sure. It is rotating high up in the sky. What we can't see with radar is anything on the ground. So we don't know if it is actually producing a tornado. We just know up in the sky there is some rotation. So when the Weather Service sees that, they're often proactive. They issue that warning just to get people a heads up. That's the whole point, right? Not afterwards. Not seeing any reports. I'm on my little chat now, just watching. Not seeing any of you guys in that area report anything. I've got some reports of hail across parts of Marshall County, so thanks for those reports. Otherwise, just torrential rainfall with these. There's just a remarkable amount of rain being produced by these thunderstorms. Alrighty. And thanks for being patient as I eat dinner. I appreciate it. Alrighty. No real changes to this. Again, there's some minor rotation. It is not too significant, which is encouraging. Tornado warning for Pulaski and Stark County on the back edge of this storm. It continues to be very broad as well. So, you know what? If there's a tornado on the ground, we'd be able to see it on radar. You see stuff lofted up in the sky. That is absolutely not happening with this. It doesn't mean we don't take the warning seriously, but some encouraging positive news as we watch this and other storms. I do want to zoom out a little bit here. We will focus on that one, but I also want to show you over here towards Warsaw. See the blue there? That's 50 to 60 mile an hour winds just north of 30 between Etna Green and Warsaw, heading towards like the airport there in Warsaw, the Leesburg area, north of Walmart and all of that. That area is going to get some really gusty winds here in the next 10 to 15 minutes at absolute most. So if you live in the Warsaw area, especially up by Leesburg, you're going to get some nasty wind as this continues to push to the north and to the northeast. And that warning is going to be extended definitely to probably LaGrange County and Noble County. We'll watch it, but there's a lot of wind with that. We can put a storm track on there. Let's just put a storm track and see where this thing's going. Most of these storms move in at a pretty good rate. So Leesburg within the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, moving over towards Let's see some other places here. Potawatomi Park at about 9 o'clock. All these different neighborhoods here. You can try to find the one that's closest to you. North Webster about 9:05. Those areas seeing that as well. And there we go. There's the next warning for that area, bright green. That's where we're seeing a lot of the wind with these storms. All right, let me go back down to this tornado warning. Again, this is still looking pretty good. This is remarkably broad rotation, which may mean the Weather Service will let this expire just because it is looking okay. So good news there. The actual storm itself may be rotating just a little bit up in the sky, but I see no indications of anything on the ground that would cause too much concern. So some positive news there. Continuing to obviously track the storms, but provide some good news there when I've got it for you. Gustiest wind with all of these storms are certainly northwest of Warsaw, between Warsaw and Etna Green, Bourbon area, pushing to the north and to the northeast. So that'd be Leesburg, over towards like the Epworth Forest neighborhood up that way, and into North Webster, the Barbie Lake chain. You've got Lake Tippecanoe, Wawasee. All the lake area is going to get some nasty wind as this pushes to the north and to the northeast. You can see the circle there. We call that the cone of silence. That's the National Weather Service Doppler radar off of State Road 13 there. The gustiest wind is actually heading right towards that area. So if you live in North Webster, you're going to get some nice wind as well. And again, excuse me, I'm right in the middle of dinner. Terrible timing, but don't want to get cold. I've got some really good pasta. All these warnings are confusing because they're all overlapping on each other, but you get the point. Does look like National Weather Service allowed that tornado warning to expire. I don't see it on my screen anymore, so that's good news. So no more rotation. They just did that to be proactive and make sure they stay ahead of Mother Nature. But these are just wind makers. They're not super bad, 50 to maybe 60 miles an hour, but nothing too significant as this continues to push to the north and to the northeast. For that reason, I'll put on regular radar because we're done with rotation. Good news there. These polygons are getting a little confusing. I know it's a lot to look at, but basically if you live anywhere with all the yellow, there's some strong winds and heavy rain. So all right. All right, so again, no tornado warning, just lots of severe thunderstorm warnings. I know it's a lot of yellow here. National Weather Service just trying to showcase where the storms are pushing to the east. Basically, if you live along US 30, you're getting some heavy rain and some gusty winds with these storms. And some of these will expire here pretty soon, which will allow this to clear up a little bit. Oh, the right TE. I think to make it easier, I'm just going to take off the warnings. National Weather Service warning this big complex of storms. They're trying to determine which direction each of the parts of the storms are moving. Put it into motion for you. They're basically moving along US 30. So if you live along 30 in Warsaw, Winona Lake, over towards Plymouth, Bourbon, Etna Green, up towards Napanee and Bremen along US 6, you're getting all this heavy rain. There's a little bit of gusty wind with it, but that's really about it. Probably a little bit of hail as well as it continues to push to the north and to the northeast. Our reports of some pea-size hail in Plymouth from the Marshall County EMA, Jack. So thanks for that report. Really, it's about it, guys. I know there's lots of warnings out there, but the wind is nothing like super intense. It's gusty out there. These are just waterlogged, soaked storms producing a lot of rain, a little bit of hail, and some gusty winds. Had that one rotation, but that's really about it. So, not seeing too much more there. Derek says I look exhausted. I just got done mowing, so yeah. And I don't. On TV, I used to wear makeup to make myself look better. This is just the actual mat now. So, all right, friends, I'm going to keep watching, but I'm going to go back to just sharing my screen for a little bit as I continue to eat dinner. But I'll watch the radar. I'll keep sharing my screen so you can see it on your end. Geek out with me, but we'll be in touch. Everybody, Matt Rudkin here. I'm back. Thought I'd just do a really quick update and then probably sign off. These storms continue to flare up through an outflow boundary, and that's why we've got so much rain with these things. We put them into motion for you so you can see it here over the past hour. They're doing what's called training, which is where one storm develops, another one develops behind it, and they go down the same track, if you will, like a train track, and they produce pretty prolific precipitation amounts when that happens. You get 1, 2, up to 3 inches an hour, and that's likely what we're seeing through the evening hours. And that's why outside of this area, basically US 30, not really seeing a lot. It's basically just the training effect with this. So this will last for another couple of hours, and then it will die off. These storms are already, I don't want to say they're weak, but they are weakening as they continue to push to the east. You can see the warnings are much less significant than they were earlier as well. So good news there. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Marshall, Kosciuszko, and Fulton counties. And I'm just going to check one thing real quick. That tornado warning has been canceled, so we don't have to worry about that. But just checking my page, haven't seen many reports, if any, of damage. I've heard some of you guys talk about some hail you've seen out there, gusty winds. I'm not seeing a bunch of tree damage reports, so that's encouraging. But certainly some really big rainmakers out there. Let's go through the warnings real quick. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for another 15 minutes or so. This is for Elkhart, Kosciuszko, Noble, and LaGrange counties. We've got this one down here that expires at the same time, 9:15. That's for Marshall County. And this one in Fulton County that expires in a half hour. All of these storms are moving basically along US 30. I can put it into motion for you. Pushing to the east and to the southeast for the most part through the evening, going along the same locations. And again, we call that training, like train tracks. They're kind of just following US 30. That's where all this rain is at. But it does look like the last few scans there, they're kind of trying to rain themselves out. They get real tall in the atmosphere, and then they collapse on themselves. And that's what we're seeing here in the last few scans, which is good. That means the storms are weakening. Warnings will be allowed to expire. And then that really is about it for at least now. We may have a couple more to deal with later on. Let's stop the loop, and we can zoom out a little bit. I'll show you what I'm watching for later on. So out here, in Illinois, we'll watch just in case any more develop out in this area. I don't think we'll see much, but we may in the middle of the night as another outflow boundary makes its way into our region. So we'll have to watch that, but it doesn't look too significant. Let me show you a couple things for tomorrow while I've got you. How's that sound? So tomorrow's the day we're going to have to keep an eye on radar. So this is future radar, what you see right here. This would be tomorrow at like 4 in the morning. So we'll have to watch to our north and northwest tomorrow. Let me put this into motion. This is a computer model. This is about 11 o'clock. Here's lunchtime. This could get kind of nasty tomorrow. We'll see if it actually, happens like the computer thinks it is. But this would be what we call a bow echo, and almost always you get really nasty wind with that. This would be tomorrow from about noon, 1 p.m., through about 3 or 4. That's the time you want to be weather aware. If you have any outdoor plans, you want to keep a close eye to the sky and, of course, the Matt Rudkin weather app, because there could be some nasty wind ahead of this. That's just one model, so let's look at a different one and see what a different model does. How about this is one of the U.S. models, just to see if it's similar, if it's a little bit different. So, again, we'll start tomorrow morning. Here is about 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. And, again, this one's showing kind of similar with a lot of rain, but certainly some storms as we push through the midday and afternoon hours. One more we'll do. It's the United States High Resolution Rapid Refresh model. And we use this a lot for short-term forecasts. It only goes out about 48 hours or so. But a pretty powerful computer. So that'll be 3 models we're analyzing. Let's just see if there's any similarities or differences there as it tries to load the last frame. Although I may have put too much into this and crashed my software. Yep, looks like it did. So you won't see it. But the key takeaway here is storms tomorrow from about lunchtime through about 3 or 4. You want to be weather aware and keep an eye to the sky for those, just to make sure, just make sure if you have any outdoor plans, you're inside and away from windows, because it does look like these could produce some pretty nasty winds with them. All right, well, with that said, I'll keep an eye on this. I'm going to go back behind the scenes again, but I will keep an eye on the radar. Not concerned with anything I'm seeing out there right now. These will continue to weaken, which is good news. And then, yeah, I'll just keep you updated, babysit the radar, and then maybe we'll see each other tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Before I go to bed tonight, the next 2 hours or so, I will post an update on thoughts for tomorrow. So as you wind down, get the kids ready. I know a lot of you go into school tomorrow. You can check back on the page. I would say about 10:30 at the latest. I'll have a full detailed report for you with my thoughts on tomorrow. Otherwise, have a good night, everybody. I'll chat with you soon.